You're so funny. Hi, it's Dr. Ericka. Welcome to Wellness Chat with Dr. Ericka. I do need to, you're going to lose me in frame briefly because guess what? I was trying to be proactive and I always talk about how my cell phone starts doing weird things when I am live streaming. Well, guess what? I moved it and I usually will double
check out of reach.
And it's way across the floor. And even though my father teases me and says I have prehensile toes, I can't move it enough to get a grip. But while I move it, I'm going to ask my guests, right now I'm in Atlanta. This is where I'm sheltering in place. Coach B, can you tell folks where you're at right now, where you're coming from?
I'm currently in Raleigh, North Carolina. I'm from New Jersey. I spend a considerable amount of time there. My brother, which many of you might know, is in Washington, D.C., so I'll go there. And then we have a partner of ours who is in Brooklyn running the tea shop, Brooklyn Tea, so I'll spend some time there as well. But shelter in place is happening in Raleigh, where my family lives, and the kids are in school, and Raleigh's good. It's hot and rainy today, but there's no snow. It rarely ever snows here, so it's an incredible place to be. So while Ericka is somehow scrambling for her phone, I'll tell you, I'm here to talk about 5 proven strategies for better health. I know the title says hacks. I don't like the word hacks, but it probably makes a better headline. I don't know. Either way, we're going to have a great time. I think we'll learn a lot together.
Like I didn't run the title by him. You have to clean that up before you made it sound like I lost my mind and was talking about hacks, and you're like, I don't like hacks. What had happened was.
What are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? You gotta take it. It's live. You can't edit me out. I say what I want.
I know. As you all will get to see, I've known Coach B for a while. He says what he wants. So tonight we're doing our wellness chat. We're talking about 5 hacks to better health, or however he is about to remix this. But I'm so happy to have him here because he is so brilliant. I'm going to let him tell you about some of his brilliance. But first, I want to just give a couple of housekeeping tips. The first one is, please tag or share this with anybody that you feel needs it. If you're watching it later, it's all right. Just put hashtag replay in there so that we know you came by. You can also still put comments in even after it airs, because we'll circle back and see what's up. So I want to get that out of the way. The next thing is, you know me. I'm your host, Dr. Ericka. I'm a double board certified psychiatrist and integrative lifestyle coach, along with a best-selling author. I help women who are disgruntled with life and love redefine and reboot their dreams in order to attract more aligned people and opportunities. I'm also coming to you with over 15 years. Yeah, I said 15 years of experience in human behavior. I have a brand new telepsychiatry practice, which I will tell you about later. But I'm here to help you get through all of this with your wellness and your sanity intact, because Lord knows there is way too much going on right now. So I'm excited to bring our guest on. I almost called him a host. I guess maybe I'm saying he needs to be on more often. So the first thing is just to let you know, just a little tiny touch of background. So the background is I've known Coach B for what seems like forever. It's probably not actually forever, but it seems like forever.
I don't know if that's good or bad. That makes it sound like it's been too long.
It's good. It's good because Coach B is so brilliant that he reinvents himself like Madonna, like the male Madonna. You'd never guess, given how deep his knowledge is in health and wellness, with him being a certified nutrition coach, a certified strength coach. And he has this brilliant way of putting it together, which is why I wanted him to come on. But I mean, he has a technical background. So it's so funny that he's just done so much and he's only 25.
I'll take it.
And one of the reasons I brought him on is he's someone I trust with my own health. So this is someone that it's not, I've heard about what Coach B, it's not, I've seen Coach B on IG, it's not, I've seen his emails, or I talked to a friend that used Coach B. I've been using Coach B myself for years. So I know up close and personal what kind of work he does. And I have a pretty good understanding, even though he has a better understanding than me, of some of the guiding principles and philosophies that shape how he has a very unique way of talking about health. So I quickly want to just say welcome to Joy, my Aunt Sherry, my Aunt Gail, and my mom.
Hi, ladies.
Here, please say hello. Let us know you're here. And I'm going to let Coach B tell you more about himself.
Well, as Ericka aptly put it, I do have a technical background. I went to the capstone of education, Howard University, earning my degree in civil engineering. I then went to further my studies in civil engineering at Northwestern. Since that time, I have really just embraced being an engineer of life. And so what an engineer is a person who sees a problem and then seeks solutions in the existing knowledge, what we know in the science, and turns it into practical solutions. And so, I have several friends who have been on this show. Dr. Roddy Ferguson is a very good friend of mine who's also an engineer with me. A lot of our friends, once we become that engineer, we seek problems in any area of life. Brent Hughes is a chef. He's a chef who really is an engineer in the kitchen. I'm an engineer in the weight room. I'm an engineer in the kitchen. And that's a few of the things that I do. But it's all really one thing, and that's problem solving. That's who I am. I happen to really care about people and care about my community. And we're at a time right now where really we can't have this conversation unless we're really, for me, touching on some of the real important things that have happened this week. We've had some devastating instances caught on video this week of violence against Black bodies. That is a real problem for me. So everything that I do deals with the fact that I'm a family man. I've got children, I've got a wife. I have extended family like many of you. I have cousins, aunts, and uncles who I want to see, number one, make it through the COVID crisis. I want to see them thrive. And that involves, the core of my understanding of wellness and making sure that I can give them the information that I have and then bring to the table people of greater knowledge and information, which I do regularly. And second, that, assuming that we all, make it through this COVID crisis, that we also are dealing with the other crisis that we have at hand, which again is violence against Black bodies in America, which is a real big deal. And I'm going to take every one of those problems and I'm going to come up with solutions. And I'm going to ask, the community at large to participate and help me refine those things. So I have done many different businesses and many different things. But in my mind, it's all been one continuum of problem solving. So thanks so much for having me, Ericka.
Oh, you're so welcome. And one of the reasons I wanted to bring Coach B on, and it just happened at time with some of these other things going on, is COVID's here. COVID has disrupted a lot of people's lives in ways that most people would never have imagined. And life hasn't stopped just because of COVID. So as far as responsibilities, things people need to do, people's stress level in general is rising just with all of the things that were COVID related. Then you add in all the pressures of regular adulting, and along with now more of these incidents of Black people just being literally killed for no reason. Mm-hmm. And all of those things can cause stress reactions, and then how we handle them can affect our health. And one of the things I love about what we'll be getting into with Coach B is he has a way of whittling things down to basic principles. And sometimes they sound almost so simple. You're like, that's so simple. It's really going to do something. And the interesting thing is he has a way of taking care of your overall health simple and practical. And it's proven, and I've done it, and I've seen what's happened when I've done them. I've seen what's happened when I don't do them. And he has this magical way, it's almost like it's your superpower, of whittling things down to habits and certain behaviors that if you do these basic things, that they have these huge benefits that just spread like little ripples on a pond. And one of the things that I loved about having him on at this time, and we had planned this prior to George Floyd's death, unfortunately, is that this is a time where people feel very out of control and feel a lot of uncertainty. And when you start getting some tools to take control of your life, your health, and your wellness, not only does it make you physically better well, but it also improves your emotional health. And at the end of the day, all of these kind of flow through together. And if we're able to work on those, you can see huge changes in a situation where you just feel stressed. So it's putting a proactive way for you to manage through all of these things. Now, I'm going to ask you, because you said hacks is a good headline, but it's not your favorite. What word do you want to use for these 5 things?
Proven strategies.
Proven strategies. All right. Proven strategies for win.
Hack sounds like it came out of a fortune cookie or something.
Or like a magazine.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, because that's what magazines do. I'm a science guy. Let's start there. I'm a science guy. So I'm not going to throw at you anything that's, flash in the pan, headliney. But now that we got you here via the headline, now we're going to get into some science and you're going to have some fun. So let's do it.
All right. So why don't we get started? What's the first proven strategy that you want to start with?
First proven strategy. You can and you must do better. This is the realization you have to have. You can and you must do better. Whatever your status quo is right now, you're here because you want to improve. And that means you're going to have to do things differently. It's an active action item. It's you must do and you must do better. Undiagnosed problems, no matter what, your car, in your health, in your social engagements, rarely get fixed. So if we don't acknowledge that we can and we must do better, the likelihood that we will is very low. So this can either be a session where we sit around and we talk on this stream today and it's just entertainment, or we can actually start with making a commitment. I'm going to start by realizing that I'm doing whatever I'm doing pretty well, okay, middling, fair to middling. I can do better. And if you'll make that commitment too, we're off to a great start. Also, there is a biologically designed fail date for your body and for parts of your body. Okay? Take away car accidents, take away bad diet, take away lack of exercise, take away excessive sitting. If you were, a fisherman in Okinawa who was living a very active life and eating mostly whole foods and things like that, there's still a breakdown date. Like your knee is designed to work for 100 to 110 years and then fail. It is what it is. Okay. Take out genetic disparities. So what we can do is we can either maximize that time or not. What would you rather do? And the example that I always draw on is that fisherman in Okinawa. He has a drastically different life than the Western life that we live. In many of our families, you'll see people live a life that looks like life, then sickness. And that can look like, bedridden, or it could be, walking sickness. It could be, medicated for years and years and years, and then death. But that fisherman in Okinawa might have life, dead. Sounds morbid, but which one is preferable? Would you rather live your life expectancy long and not manage sickness, or manage many years of sickness? For me, the answer is super simple. And that's where we start, is that we have to own it. We have to diagnose the issue that we're doing whatever we're doing and we can do better. And that's my number one underlying hack.
So I want to talk about that for a hot second. I think one of the things that is very key to this particular proven strategy.
Thank you.
Is that in the realizing you must and can do better, is there 2 parts. One is the realizing or having some level of self-awareness so that you have any idea of what you're even doing. The second is, well, I guess it's third. Must implies an intention.
Yeah.
And then do better. The thing I love about better is better than where you're at. Because sometimes people, it's kind of like, I've got to do the best. I've got to do the optimal. I have to do this huge thing, and people set up bars for themselves that it's almost impossible for them to move from where they are to that point so they set themselves up for failure. It's kind of like if I'm laying on the couch forever and I've been a couch potato for a year, and then I decide I don't want to just walk around the block, I want to go do a marathon.
Right.
I probably will not be successful. So I love the use of better, because it gives space to move, but to be successful with it, versus where sometimes people set their expectations so high that they end up discouraged because they just can't get it.
Absolutely. In the battle between all or nothing, nothing wins. Meaning, if I'm either going to run that marathon or I'm going to sit here on the couch and eat bonbons, over time and the numbers, doing nothing wins. And so setting that bar extremely high for perfection, like you said, Ericka, is a recipe for failure. So we just want to do better. Just, if today was a 5, can I get to 5.2?
And there's something else I've seen that happens sometimes when people set that bar so high that they can't hit it. And I want to know if this is just in Dr. Ericka world, or if you see this too, is that it's almost like when you hit this point that you were trying to do something, but you don't make it, then you end up doing worse than you started. It's like, you used to call it Thelma and Louising, where
That's
it's right. like instead of being like, I just didn't do it, I'm gonna have one piece of pie, eat a whole bunch of pie and some cake. It's just almost like people feel defeated, and then they almost overcompensate the other direction.
Absolutely. You said it right. Thelma and Louise, full speed off a cliff. So if I know I'm supposed to do this at breakfast, and then this at 11 o'clock, and this at 12 o'clock, and you have this whole thing, and you somehow screw up breakfast, human behavior says you're just going to scrap the whole day. And therefore, like you said, Thelma and Louise, and then try to start again tomorrow, when you really could have salvaged the rest of the day and done better had you kind of got yourself back on track. And so that's why you're absolutely right. Better is better than perfect.
So now, Coach B, what is the next proven strategy?
Number 2, understand weight loss versus fat loss. They are not the same thing. So here's the visual. You imagine yourself in a room with 2 large duffel bags of money. Yes, I do this. I'm sorry. I'm a hand talker. What do you want to do?
I'm looking for the duffel bags.
Oh, yeah. 2 large duffel bags of money.
Where they at?
In front of you. They're in front of you. Now, they're full of money. And you can have both of them if you can definitively tell me which one is worth more. And the tool I'm going to give you is a scale. Can you do it?
With the scale?
Yes.
Knowing which one is worth by weight?
Yeah, which one is worth more?
You don't know. Look into it, because one could be full of dollar bills and weigh the same as one that has 50s, 100s, or something bigger. You don't know till you look.
You don't know. There's no way you could know if the tool that you're giving the most credential is the scale. Absolutely right. All weight is not the same. All calories aren't the same. And so we have to understand that our goal isn't just to weigh less. It's not to be less heavy. Our goal is probably to be more fit, to be less fat, right? To be maybe smaller. That's way different than less heavy. So that scale is a single dimensional tool that really is far too much tied to our emotions. We give it way too much credibility, and it really doesn't tell us what we need to know. Like, you could be a size 8 and go to a size 6 and weigh the same. Now, were you successful if you didn't weigh less? What if you went to a size 4 and weighed the same? Are you successful? I think so. And so we have to understand that our goal isn't what probably we default to. Our goal really isn't weight loss, unless we're like a combat sports person, which I've worked with. It could be you're a wrestler, you have to make weight. But most people listening to this aren't wrestlers. They're not title boxers. They don't have to make weight. They want to make size, maybe. You want to feel better, right? You want to go into that other section of your closet that you haven't been in a while, right? Would you agree?
Yeah, I mean, as you said, I'm not Dr. Roddy, so I have a slightly different group of people watching me.
Oh, I'm sorry. So who's watching? That's a great question. Who are your viewers?
My viewers are a wide range of wonderful people, but it's probably is not skewed to a whole bunch of traditional athletes. It's people that just want to live better, that have a wide variety of ages, working hard. Some retired. Career folks doing what they can, but it's not. This isn't a situation where this is a bunch of elite athletes that they're getting paid to be athletic.
Right. Exactly. So you want to be smaller, maybe. You want to be able to fit in your clothes better. You want to sleep better. You want to feel better. And, you know, I think that pretty much would do it. Be less fat is a generalization that is probably a better, more accurate term than way less. And so I just want to make sure we focus on and understand and can agree on what our goal is. So understanding weight loss versus fat loss, we really want to lose fat. We don't want to necessarily just lose weight. Okay.
Well, and the interesting thing with that is I think for a lot of people, it's the unspoken things that go underneath there. That people will say they want to lose weight or they don't want to be fat. But I feel like what's underneath it for a lot of people, and I know I've struggled with this at times when I was heavier, is at the end of the day, a lot of times is you want to feel more confident because a lot of people, you know, everyone's not Lizzo. So there are a lot of people that they don't necessarily, part of the side effect of feeling like they're not their ideal size or that they're large is that their confidence is low. And then you end up dealing with all of the things that happen when your confidence is low, such as having self-doubt, not necessarily always making the best decisions because you are doubting yourself or looking for other things just because you just don't feel confident about yourself. And then that confidence can spill into professional and personal environments. So, you know, I can actually say I'll have a transparent Dr. Ericka moment that I feel different about myself when I'm slimmer.
Right.
Like you could even say, how did I feel about myself 3 or 4 months ago is different than how I feel now.
Right. I can understand that. And the same thing, there's no different in men. You know, I feel maybe the variable's different. I feel different about myself when I'm stronger. That's just me. You know, when I'm more consistent in my training, I feel, and I'm kind of pursuing my goals, I feel more confident when I'm in pursuit of a worthy goal. It doesn't matter what it is. In terms of, you know, limiting to wellness and physicality, for me, it's not so much what I look like. For me, it's strength. But everybody has something, right? I feel, and so to align with what you're saying is, number one, you're not alone, and we all have that feeling. We all are insecure about something physically, and we could feel better if we did a little bit better.
And the complicated thing is, I think it's different than women and men because our clothes are a whole nother situation. And I realized earlier today, I was about to run an errand, had my mask and everything. You know, I was looking cute with my mask. Is that I realized I don't know how to dress my body when it's significantly heavier. Anywhere near as well as I can dress it, even at the size I am now, which to me isn't necessarily even my ideal size.
Right.
I can dress this body well. 20 pounds plus, I have a heck of a time dressing that body. And the funny thing is I'll look and I'll see people on the internet or in magazines that are heavier that seem to know how to dress their body. So I do think there's something very, very important. It's one of the things I used to love about Tim Gunn is that when people help, especially women or even men, learn how to dress their body at different sizes, that it can make a huge difference for confidence. But I realized I just went on a super tangent.
No, it's good. I agree. And, you know, it's also probably true is that you're probably the hardest on yourself. Like you probably notice whatever you're seeing way more than everybody else. Everybody else is probably just happy to see you. And, you know, your haircut's fresh and all that stuff. And you're concerned about how does this skirt make me look? You know, you're probably a whole lot more critical than everybody else is. But I do understand.
And I do want to give a shout out. It looks like Whitney joined us and she said we're two of her favorite people.
Yeah.
Which I realized I could have, since she said we're her faves, I need to pop that up on the screen real quick. Just give it a little FaceTime. So while we give Whitney a little FaceTime and say hello to Dr. Kadisha, who's on, what is the next proven strategy?
Next proven strategy. For best results, use a multi-pronged attack. So you say fitness or fat loss even, and what most people immediately think is, oh, I got to get to the gym. And that's probably the beginning of it and the end of it. for most people. And some people do differently. Here's the visual. I used to live in New Jersey. I grew up there. Yeah, let me give you the visual. Imagine this. Imagine you step out of your house and there was an ice storm the night before. And you step out onto a sheet of ice 2 inches thick. Now, having grown up with a dad who knew to get his kids out the house and do all the yard work, we've had to deal with this situation before. There's a couple ways to deal with it. One is the physical route. You grab a shovel or some type of steel bar and you start chipping away at the ice. And that's important. That's the physical removal of the ice. The other way is chemical removal of the ice, which means you'll come out, maybe you sprinkle some salt on it, wait 15, 20 minutes to let that salt start to melt, and then come out with the shovel and start banging it away, right? Both of those approaches in tandem is the best solution, right? If you just came out and shoveled, you're gonna be there all day. You're gonna be in a full sweat. You're there all day. If you just put salt down, you're never gonna get out the house. So you have to attack on the chemical level and on the physical level, and it's the same for achieving our body goals, right? Our body, yes, there's a physical component. You know, our muscles move our bones and allow us to move around and burn calories and do all types of things. And the more challenging that is, the more calories we burn and the more we stimulate our central nervous system. That's the physical route. You do need to go do something physical. You can't sit all day and I hope to achieve your goal.
No.
In a reasonable time.
For real?
For real. Lady who's on the Peloton daily. The chemical approach is the other piece is our body is processing billions of chemical reactions per day. Our brain is balancing because we're a chemical being. You know, everything is a chemical reaction. The hormones are being released to balance our body and our body function. So we have to take the chemical approach as well. And that means our body chemistry has to be in balance. And that's mainly, we do that by what we eat, what we drink. And even some of the things that we do, like meditation, you know, which actually, you know, will impact our stress hormone production and things like that. So we're going to take both approaches. It's not going to be just the gym. You're not going to solve any of these issues by just going to the gym. Two approaches. So that was my third point.
Is 2 prongs?
Two prongs, chemical and physical.
Is it chemical? I was going to recap.
Oh, my bad.
Thunder. You stole all the thunder. So we have a comment, and I know my mother has been waiting the whole time. She told me this one was coming. So I want you to comment on it. She says, I really don't like working out.
That's fine. Many people don't. Sometimes I don't. Do you like the impact or what happens as a result of working out? And let's look at the blessing as well. Working out basically can be boiled down to I move my body. I do different things with my body. I challenge my body by moving. How would you feel if you couldn't move your body? If you had some impairments? So I think if we look at this thing with some level of gratitude, Mom, you'll see we'll just have to find the modes of working out that you enjoy, which I understand you enjoy Zumba. Is that right?
Mom, yeah, feel free to comment, Mom. I do not want to speak for you and speak wrong. Because right. I could give an estimated, my best educated guess given all the
I've seen the photos. I already know. Kadisha Rap says, I lose more weight eating clean than from working out. See, Kadisha, what you're doing is you know your body and you know what works for you. That's fantastic. And I submit that you're looking at things in an either or fashion. You said I lose more from doing this than doing that. And my suggestion is having a 2-prong approach. You'll lose even more fat faster and easier with the 2-prong approach.
My mom is back and she has now declared not fair.
Mom, I've known your daughter for way too long to have not seen pictures of you in Zumba.
Well, and the thing is, I went to Zumba more when I was home. But I think what she's dealing with is something that a lot of us deal with. And I know for me, what I enjoy shifts, and it's this push-pull because I'm one of those people. I'm not in love with running. I know some people that they run and it's like the gates of heaven opened. They have euphoria. They have runner's high. Yeah. They just run until their poor little Achilles die, because almost everyone I know that runs a lot has hella injuries.
Mm-hmm.
They just love running. And it took a while for me to find something I enjoyed. And then there's some times where I've worked out a lot and I enjoyed the result, but not the actual working out. And I think it's this huge challenge to figure out to find some way that there's some type of activity that you can actually do that you enjoy. Because I know for me, just recently getting back on my not back on the Peloton, I never really got on it until I got on it, was that I realized that I fell in love again with exercise, that I actually enjoy it. It's not exercising because it's a have to, like, because I know for me and Coach B and I have worked together long enough that we know that there are points where if I don't have a certain muscle mass, I can eat extremely clean.
Mm-hmm.
My little body's just like, whatever.
Yeah.
My body eating clean and no movement, if I am not hella lean already, it's just like, whatever.
Yeah.
But I think that's the great thing about having some people to help out with your plan, is that everybody's body is different. And also how my body has reacted at my current age is different than how it was reacting even to similar things 6 years ago.
Mm-hmm. My main man, Smook Maxi, says, the chemical prong, can you elaborate? Is this about intake, your diet, multivitamins? Absolutely, yes. It's about the chemistry of your body. It's about the hormones that your body is releasing to balance what you're doing to it. So, our body's always trying to keep us alive despite what we do to it. And it's always trying to keep us in position to reproduce despite what we do to it. And it's mainly a chemical thing. It's about, while we're resting, which is actually our next deal, our body goes to balance a ton of chemical equations, and it needs the reactants. It needs to make sure that it has and can produce all the things that go into it. So chemically, if you put yourself out of position, if you're not, giving your body what it needs, intake wise, et cetera, and if you're not avoiding toxins and poisons unnecessarily, then you're going to have a hard time. So it really is about moving that whole chemical issue slightly forward. Smooth.
Well, and I love that you brought up so many things, because there are things we can put in our body that are helpful. Mm-hmm. And then you can take chemical to the next level, because I'm also was a chemist, is that a lot of this processed food is literally putting chemicals into your body, because nobody can pronounce the stuff but chemists. Literally, nobody but chemists can even say what's in there. So I think there's this huge portion about being intentional of what you put in your body and what you do with your body. Right.
Agreed. And I stepped on my next point. Dang it. We're answering Kadisha's question? No, there's no question.
This was just a comment. She said, as we age, maintaining muscle is key also. And that's what actually hit me. He's going to say something, and I know I'm not going to take the thunder, because he alluded that he's also going to talk about something else that we're going to circle back to that.
Okay. Good. Got it. I think I know what you're talking about. We're going to find out. My next is aggressive action is balanced by aggressive recovery. So in the all or nothing paradigm we talked about, you have the personality type that will, like you said, either I'm going to sit on the couch or I'm going to run a marathon, right? And we need to actually kind of see ourselves more in a pendulum fashion. So yeah, I will go and I will do some incredibly heavy deadlifting, right? Incredible dynamic action. And then I need to come back and I need to probably take a nap. Right?
Are you doing that with the big bag of cash?
Say what?
Are you doing that with the big bag of cash?
The 2 bags of cash from earlier. You deadlift the big bags of cash. And then you have to recover. You have to allow your body to recover from the damage that you're doing in your dynamic activity. So if you just go super hard all the time, you're going to reach an elastic point where you can't go beyond. You're going to reach a plateau much sooner. So one of the things you need to prioritize is recovery. Rest and recovery has to be something that you advance towards and improve upon, just like you're attacking your activity goals. So you start doing Peloton, you start doing Zumba, you start lifting weights. You start jogging or whatever. That's fantastic. You weren't doing that before. You're doing more of it now because you've decided in point one, you realize that you can and you must do better. So you're doing better. The other thing that you have to make advances towards are, am I stretching more? Am I doing any foam rolling or other types of myofascial release? Am I getting adequate sleep? I mean, the gentleman asked that question. He said, how much sleep is adequate per night? On average, I would say around 7 hours. And I know that may be hard for some people. And so I would say allow yourself to accumulate 7 hours in a 24-hour period. Meaning, sure, if you can only get 5, then can you get 2 hours along the way somewhere? Can you pick up a 2-hour nap, or 1 hour nap and a 1 hour nap along the way? This has to be your goal. And a lot of times we talk about things in terms of the ideal, and there's the real. So depending on how hard this is for you, if 7 hours is just like impossible, then we'll change the goal. We'll say, well, can you accumulate 49 hours in a 7-day period? That gives you the chance to maybe catch up on Saturday and Sunday, or your days off, or on whatever 2 days you might be able to accumulate more hours to make up for some of the loss you had before. But it has to be a priority. If you're going to make a priority of training harder or more consistently, then you have to make a priority out of the recovery that balances that out. Make sense? I know it does.
It does. And what I would say on sleep too is, as adults, it's hard to get a good amount of sleep if you're not intentional about it. Especially if you think about just being on the East Coast, the news comes on at 11. So if you're someone that, if you use the bar of the day being about when the news is over, well, the news is over around 11:30. That's saying you don't watch a late show. Well, a lot of people have to get up by 6. So you're already kind of pushing that clock. So, and then also now with so much social media and so much going on, it's very easy to be doing the late night social media scrolls.
Yeah.
Between the late night social media scrolls and the Netflix or random binge watching, it's very easy, especially during this time where people have been sheltering in place or just their normal activities have been significantly interrupted, that I find like this is one of those pieces that's a very high yield piece for your mental and physical well-being, as far as being intentional about actually setting a goal of what time you're going to go to bed and what time you're going to get up. And I'm an iPhone user, so they actually have that bedtime setting where you actually put an alarm when it's time to go start taking your butt to bed. It's a really playful, it's a very pleasant tone. But one of those things that if you're going to be intentional, it may be helpful to start setting an alarm around the time you want to go to bed, so that you don't mind, sometimes we'll start doing mindless activities or just get distracted or just be doing other things. And then you realize what time it is. And then you realize there's no way I can get a full night's sleep. Now that it might not even be like you're BSing around. You may have been working on a document or something. You look up, it's 1 o'clock in the morning and you're like, well, I'm trying to get 7 or 8 hours of sleep.
Yeah.
It's too late. So I think there's something to be said about being intentional.
Definitely.
Just like there's something to be said about being intentional about when you're going to get physical activity.
Yeah. I agree on all points. I wouldn't say set an alarm at bedtime. I would say an hour before bedtime or an hour and a half before, so that you can at least you're informed. If you wait till, hey, I'm going to bed at 11 and, oh, there's the alarm for 11 and I still got everything to do, right? Set it an hour and a half before. And if you want an advanced technique on this, you're not going to get, let's take your example. You're up at 1 in the morning because you were working on a PowerPoint or something for work or, for your business, whatever. You're not going to find more productive hours than the hours, 5 to 6 in the morning or 4 to 5 in the morning. You're not going to find it. You probably haven't tried it. So you've done it your way. And if you want to try another way, set an alarm for 4 o'clock or 5 o'clock in the morning, assuming that that's earlier than you already get up, and put an hour in work there. Then your bedtime is going to take care of itself. You're going to have a really productive hour before the house wakes up. All right. You can get all the stuff done. There's no noise. There's no TV. There's no distractions. And then you're going to have your day. And then you're probably going to, your bedtime, you don't have to think about it anymore. You're going to crash, on time. No problem. Something to try.
All right.
Yeah.
Now I'm trying to think. We're on number 5. So
we're on number 5.
5 of the proven strategy.
Number 5 is all of the fortune cookie advice that you've ever seen in magazines, everywhere else. It's the stuff that you thought you were going to get in 1 through 4. You notice that it's only 1/5 of the list. It's a very small portion of the list. Say again?
Give some examples.
Right. So what to eat, when, things to eat, things to do. We're going to talk about that stuff, but I just want to make the point for a second that when you came and saw that there was going to be 5 things on the list, you probably thought you were going to get what you saw in Fitness Magazine and all other crap. You probably thought you were going to get, hey, make sure you eat enough beans and da-da-da-da-da and all these things. Nah, there's the mental game, right? How you think about this thing is a way bigger game changer than anything else. This is important. This is just one item on the list. The mentality that you have, that you've picked up in items 1 through 4 will take you a long way further than just addressing this one small portion. So I'm going to give you the real deal. Number 1, you, according to the numbers, most of you are walking around dehydrated, overfed, undernourished, meaning you eat too many calories, not enough nutrients inside. Most of you are walking around protein deficient. And why is that important? Protein is required to make your nails grow, to make your skin grow. Because I'm damaging my skin right now. It's all falling off. My body's going to come and replace that.
I don't know why I keep looking like I'm a see.
Like you're going to see it.
I'm just looking.
Right. When I go squat or deadlift or go for a jog or even a swim, I'm causing damage to my body, and the bricks of repair are protein, or grams of protein. Okay, molecules of protein, whatever you want to call it. And so most of us are walking around causing damage every day that's accumulating. We're accumulating new and more damage because we're protein deficient. You're not eating enough protein. That's what the numbers say about population overall. Why is water important? Because we talked about the billions of chemical reactions that our body is making. And I talked about the reactants. So you had a lot of stress today, and your body has to, compensate for that by releasing hormones to compensate the fight or flight reaction that your body has gone into because of all the stress you went through. Well, what if your body doesn't have the reactant it needs? And water is the primary one. Okay. You don't eat enough fiber in most cases. We find that most people do not eat enough fiber. Ericka, what'd you have for dinner last night?
Last night, this is so funny. I have so many. I'm on kind of like a 3-meal rotation. Mm-hmm. So last night, no, that wasn't.
What are you having for dinner tonight? Is that easier?
Yeah, it's so funny. It's like the days run together. So I know yesterday was asparagus, broccolini, and chicken that was sauteed with onions, garlic, and a kale and cilantro pesto.
You're doing an awesome job. You know why you're doing an awesome job? Because you've been working on it and you're well practiced, and you've decided that you're going to do better. You're doing an incredible job. So I want the people out there who aren't doing as great as you, to understand that. Let's adopt this visual together. I want you to imagine your gut. When I say gut, I don't mean the gut, beer gut. I mean your gut biome, your intestines, and your digestive system. Imagine that. Picture it as a beautiful rolling meadow on a nice spring day. It's got grasses, various grasses, types of grasses. It's got shrubs and herbs and small bushes. It's got trees. It's got small insects. It's got birds chirping. It's a beautiful place, right? It's a healthy ecosystem. It has flora and fauna, has all that kind of stuff. That's exactly how you should picture your gut. And now I want you to picture what you had for dinner last night. Do those pictures match? Now, Ericka told us she had tons of vegetables. She had broccoli and asparagus and onions and garlic and some chicken and, maybe a couple other things in there. And it sounds like that's a pretty good approximation of a rolling meadow to me. That sounds great. Right. But some of you had Five Guys for dinner last night. I'm not down at Five Guys or Wingstop. Not. It's all good. But it doesn't really match the picture of rolling meadow. That's not a problem if you have it once or twice. But if that's your diet, if that's like the average of what you're doing, you're diminishing that. Remember we talked about biological failure design, the timeline that you have for biological healthy life. You're diminishing that day by day by day, or meal by meal by meal. And what we really want is to get back to that model that we envisioned about life, long life, whole line of L's, and then dead. Like we just one day just done. Having never been hospitalized, having to be medicated or nurse sickness. That's the goal. And so that's the deal. And that's my list. My last point goes back to something Ericka said in the very beginning about me. She said, I like to keep it simple. My very last point is keep it simple, stupid. This stuff doesn't have to be hard. It doesn't have to be overly complicated. And remember, magazines are trying to sell magazines. They're trying to sell medicine. They're not trying to sell the cure. So I just want you to keep it simple. And the mentality that I want you to take in this is I give you 5 things, and I don't want you to do a cursory glance on those 5 things. I want you to work to master those things. Like instead of going long, go deep. On number 1, just spend a week just working on number 1. Just the realization, just understanding your motivation that I must and I can do better. Spend a week on that. Think about it every day. Write it down. Put it on your computer. Put it on the screensaver that bounces around, or put it on a sticky pad. Stick it in the refrigerator. Just everywhere you are. That's the only thing you do for the week. You don't have to do anything different. And then do this. Then once that's done, go to the next week. Understand the difference. Again, the 4 out of the 5 things we talked about are just mentality changes. That's it. And then we get to the fortune cookie stuff. Then we get to, eating the flora and fauna and having meals like Ericka. And she's a master at salads and salad dressings. She's got a cabinet full of teas, green teas and white teas and black teas. She's got many really fantastic practices in there. But that didn't come overnight. It's built on the foundation of the mentality that she's adopted over working on this for a very long time. So those are my 5 points.
Thank you. Thank you
so much.
We're on the downslope of the wrap up, but not quite there yet. I want to encourage anybody that's there. If you feel like anybody needs this message, please feel free to tag them or share this broadcast. We just want to make sure that people have what they need to have the best life, the life that they were created for, the life that they deserve. And then the next thing is, if you're watching this and you're watching the replay, it's all good. Just put hashtag replay. Let us know you were there. It's okay to put comments now or later, but naturally, if we put them now, we can address them while we are still all on screen.
Yeah.
I want to circle back because the interesting thing is I want to quickly recap, but there are 2 things that I think that are huge because he started doing a recap. So realizing you can and must do better, understanding the difference between weight loss and fat loss, and also have an idea of what you want, using a multi-pronged attack, having aggressive action balanced by aggressive recovery, and then the fortune cookie stuff. But the thing that Coach B just alluded to is that a majority of these are mindset. So it's how you think, and one of the powerful things about how Coach B teaches is that it's almost like it's teaching you a way of life.
Right.
So to me, it makes it easier to manage because you're not in a situation where it's eat this many carbohydrates, count these calories. You have to do this specific activity for this long. That it's like if you look at it from the basic principles, that if you can kind of get your mind wrapped around it and get your mind right, for the short version is for accepting that you deserve the life that you were supposed to have, and accepting that you deserve good health, and accepting the fact that if you take care of your body, that the portion that's the temple, it will help you also take good care of your mind, and all of these things work together. That if you commit to it, then you'll get the results, because the results come from the commitment and the action itself.
Mm-hmm.
Versus being highly perseverative about every micro thing. And I think that's where That's where his superpower lies. He understands all of those micro, tiny, itty bitty details, but he breaks it down in a way that you don't get lost in the details. Because I'll admit, I am a detail oriented person. I can get lost in details for days. And it's one of the reasons why it's always great talking to different people, trying to figure out what approach is an approach that works for you. Before we get to kind of what your last pearl or last takeaway is, Coach B, what is your advice or take on when people should start considering working with someone or looking for assistance beyond the internet or health and fitness magazine or watching one more episode of Oprah, Dr. Oz, or reading, what's his name? Ian, whatever his name was. I don't have a problem with him. I just can't remember his name. I think it was like on Biggest Loser. So it was like Ian
Smith.
Ian
Smith.
Yes. I was thinking Smith, but I'm like, I don't know. But what do you feel like are determinants or signs that someone would benefit from not trying to figure all of this out on their own?
I don't think anybody should be trying to figure it out on your own, period. So yes, you need right information. You need right information. And so what we're now talking about is, well, at what level do I need it? And it can be as simple as free's out there, but the higher you get up the scale in terms of commitment, the more personalized and specialized it gets, and the less it's just mumbo jumbo, hocus pocus. But the issue is that there's conflicting information. You go on any website, they'll tell you to go right and tell you to go left. And the truth is, both of these may be very positive paths to work your way around the mountain, but which one is best for you? So let's talk about the minimum commitment. The minimum commitment, buy a book. And I think that a great book to start off with is, there's a guy named Dr. Andrew Weil, Weil. He wrote a book called 8 Weeks to Optimum Health. It's an 8-week.
I-L or I-E-L? I can't remember.
I don't know. When you start typing in Dr. Andrew W., it's going to pop up because he's done a great job marketing over the years. He's a medical doctor, who's done a great deal.
And they base some of the food at True Food Kitchen on him.
There you go. Yeah. So 8 Weeks to Optimum Health is a book that I give away. Like for holidays and things, I'll buy 10 of them and I'll send them to relatives and things. It's a great starting point. And sometimes the most powerful step isn't the high flying, very specialized thing. It's really going from 0 to 1. It's getting that momentum started. And so I know that it's correct information. It's something that you can do consistently, something you can master. And that may put you in a position to have a vocabulary that will put you, that allow you to ask questions in a more informed manner. So I think that's a great way to go. Another way, that again is a very low cost, zero cost thing. I myself have recorded over 150 episodes of a podcast called Coach B Daily, COACHBE Daily. It's everywhere you listen to podcasts. I don't currently record episodes, but if you start from the beginning and you listen to those episodes, pick one a day and go through it, you're going to get a ton of information. And again, you're going to just find a vocabulary to have more informed questions. And that leads to conversations that are going to help you move forward. So those are the zero or very low cost buy-in items that I would suggest to everyone. And if you get to the point where you feel like you're ready for more, I'm always here to help. You can visit eatingforabs.com. It's my website, eatingforabs.com. Don't let the title fool you. It really is a wellness journey. It is how do we go from wherever we are to, work our way around the mountain to optimum health. And that's what we want. Tiffany Webster says, what advice would you give to enforcing discipline and consistency? It's an interesting question. I don't. I think if you need discipline to make progress, we're going to lose. That's why we keep things very simple. Instead, my philosophy is displacing negative behaviors with positive ones. So Instead of saying, hey, look, Tiffany, don't eat that pasta. Don't you eat it. What are you going to do? You're going to be thinking about pasta all day. It's like saying, don't think of a pink elephant. Everybody just thought of a pink elephant, right? What we do instead is we focus on the positive. Phrase everything positively. Put minimums of positive behaviors in your life, and don't worry about the negatives. So if you have a problem with ice cream, you eat ice cream all the time, and you know what that ends up looking like, feeling like, and how it moves you into a different section of your closet, we won't address the ice cream. We'll talk about, let's set some, you can do that, but like your parents used to do, make sure these things are done first. You do these things first, and then you're fine. And over time, that is the most sustainable approach to making consistent progress now and lasting progress over time. So discipline is a trap. If you don't have any discipline, neither do I. I just make sure that I have all the positive things around me that I'm supposed to be doing and do consistently, so that if I do, find myself really craving something, out of bounds, it's less of a problem, way less of a problem. Would you agree, Ericka? You've had that experience with me?
Yes, I definitely think it's helpful, the approach of the displacement, because number one, it's, if you eat this much vegetable, there's only so much room to eat randomness, right, unless you're just eating way past when you're full. And I do like the fact that you use an approach that gives you a higher probability of having wins, because the bar is not set
right
way up here. And for each person, just like it is with any kind of habit or thing you need to learn, is each person has that thing that flips the switch that says this is important to do something that's uncomfortable.
Mm-hmm.
Just as it would, you can hit these barriers with when you need to go see the doctor for something physical, for if you need to go see the doctor for something that has to do with your mental health, to when people are just frustrated and they need a new job, to when you actually are motivated enough to work out. There for every person it's different. That thing that just pushes you over the edge. To use like a current example, a lot of people I know right now that are African American are super tired and felt like George Floyd pushed them over the edge into action, because they pushed over the edge. And I think for a lot of these behaviors that have to do with your health and your wellness, there's always some trigger that turns it and flips a switch and turns it to the point where it's a priority enough that you're willing to be intentional about taking the action necessary.
Yeah.
And it's the same way with, people may look at it from the standpoint of eating healthy or exercising, but it takes a certain amount of dedication to even meditate regularly, or to even do yoga, or to stretch. Like I hate stretching. To stretch, the foam roll, to meal prep, to go to the grocery store or to Instacart or do whatever to get the food you need, to actually communicating what your needs are to people. It's just, there just takes some level of intentionality or commitment to it, which you have to search inside yourself to see when your switch is to say enough is enough of whatever you were doing that wasn't working.
Agreed. And just to touch on Tiffany's question, there was a second part. She said consistency. And I think that you're a great model for that, Ericka. Tiffany asked, what advice would you give to enforcing discipline and consistency? What you've done in the last 3 to 6 months that really has worked for you has been finding your tribe, who are also doing something that you really like to do. You found that not only did you go on to you did the Peloton thing, and you found that you enjoyed the modality of working out, but you also found people who were like-minded, and then you also encouraged your friends to join in. And that's fantastic, because you had a tribe and you found a new tribe, and you're surrounded now by people who are doing something you like. I have an uncle who's in his 70s, and he's an avid bowler. That's his thing. He knows his tribe. That's the thing he wants to do when we get the all clear from COVID. He can't wait to get back to the bowling alley, because it provides his activity and it also provides his social time with his tribe. So I think that's another big deal, Tiffany, is consistent. When you asked about consistency, just, it might not be your existing friends, but find something you like to do. And I'm sure and just be open to meeting people who are also doing it. That's going to be a big deal.
I agree. And I think for a lot of it too, it becomes easier to become consistent once you start seeing, once you start getting wins or seeing the rewards of your work. Um, it's a lot easier to be when it comes from a wellness standpoint. Once you start paying attention to what you're eating, paying attention to your exercise, paying attention to how much you're sleeping or how you sleep, because then as you start having more energy and you feel better and you're thinking clearer and you're starting to feel a little slimmer and feel yourself a little bit like you're ready for Lizzo Beyonce any moment, that the more those little wins you feel, and as you feel better, it reinforces being consistent because you don't want to feel like the way you felt before you did those things. But the thing is, there's that critical moment that you have to pass through the discomfort
Yeah.
and get to the point where it clicks to keep doing it, because there's some things that you get the little wins. If you don't do them long enough, then it's so easy to switch back because you just haven't really been able to truly feel the benefits yet. So, and for right now, one of the things that's really important is you want your body to be at its best for a lot of reasons. One is just you deserve it. The second is we're in a pandemic. Do you want your body at its best, at its highest level of immunity and strength during a pandemic, or do you want it acting kind of whack and wonky? Naturally, we want your body at its best because then your immune system will be at its best to fight whatever is out here. And not to mention that there's still all other germs out here other than COVID. It's not just COVID ain't the only germ out there. And also people don't want to be in the hospitals or the urgent cares or the ERs. So the better you take care of your body, the less of a chance it is that you'd have to go to one of these places for another medical illness other than COVID, like high blood pressure, diabetes, all kinds of other things, because you're taking care of yourself. The other thing is we're in a time where everyone is having to make quick decisions. People are making big decisions right now. People are making pivots. People are handling their households. The better you take care of your physical and your mental health, the clearer you will think, the better you will be at making good decisions, and the better your mood will be, which is what you need in a time when there are so many things coming at you that are stressful. Right. We just get in a position to win, and by taking care of your entire body, that puts you in the best position to do that.
Agreed. Absolutely.
Really so do you have any takeaways, Coach B?
Yeah, I do. This is my last piece. I've given you everything. I would like those of you who are concerned about COVID-19 to visit. I have a new podcast. It's a little different. It's not a health and wellness podcast, but we do have health and wellness topics on there. It's called The Black Futurist. It's everywhere you listen to podcasts. And my latest episode, I had a geneticist, Dr. Bradford Wilson, on to talk about what we've learned about COVID-19 to date. And there's some really good information in there. I just want to make sure that you guys have access to the most up-to-date information. There's other stuff in that podcast. It's a lot of fun, some sci-fi stuff, some musical things. Ericka's on there. That's right. The latest episode is an update on COVID-19. Again, I want your families to survive and thrive. And that starts with making sure you get the right information. So I'd like for you to check out the Black Futurist podcast. It's on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, wherever you listen to podcasts, it's there. And it's got my face on it. You can't miss it.
Yes, it's his face like this.
It's that face. And thanks so much for having me on today. It was fantastic. It's a lot of fun. We've done this several times. We've done it, I've had multiple podcasts. You've always been, a welcome guest. And thanks so much for having me on. I'm happy to return the favor. I think that what you're doing is fantastic. You're consistent on here every night. You cannot be missed. Anybody who is in your sphere knows that you do this regular. And it's an incredible thing that you found this niche and passion that you are enjoying doing and sharing some incredible information with folks. So thanks so much for having me on.
Oh, you are beyond welcome. I'm glad you took me up on my invitation so that I'm not just on your stuff. You get to be on mine.
That's right. That's right. And I'd come back.
And I feel like you have information that's just really helpful, and especially at a time where people are dealing with such high levels of stress and such high levels of change, any way to find, I don't always like using the term normalcy, but some way to have healthy habits through all of this chaos is just wonderful. Looks like Damon said that there's a birthday coming up in 9 weeks, and he's going to try the 8 weeks to Optimum Health for a birthday present. So
yeah, there you go. It's a good place to start.
So go Damon. So again, I want to do a little wrap up. I want to say thanks for taking time out of your busy day. I know so much is going on that you chose to take some time out just for us to spend time with us. So number one, I just want to say thank you. Number two, I'll be on tomorrow night at 7 during the mental wellness check-in. We're just going to check in and see how you're doing. No specific format, just checking in. Then we'll be off for the weekend, and then I'll be back on Monday. So you get a little time to miss me a little bit. The next thing is we've been talking about a lot of things that can help you physically get yourself put together and mentally start getting put together. And one of the things is just as we talked about, is if trying to get your body together, sometimes you may need a little bit of help. And that there may be times that trying to get your mind together, you may need a little help. There's nothing wrong with that. So just want to remind people I do have my telepsychiatry practice called Goodwin Medical Associates. As I told you before, it's all adult. We're starting out with grown-ups, so you got to be 18 and over. It is cash pay, but that's so I can give you the best care possible and not be limited by some of the time constraints you end up having dealing with insurance. So I want to make sure that you can get the customized, high-quality, Harvard-trained care that you deserve. I'm licensed in multiple states, including Georgia, Tennessee, Arizona, Texas, Missouri, Pennsylvania, Massachusetts. So if you're in any of those states, I can take care of you. You can find information for that at goodwintelepsych.com. That's goodwintelepsych.com. If you have some more questions after that, just scroll to the very bottom of the page. There's going to be an email and phone number. Feel free to email or call, and we can answer your questions and see what we can do to help if you just have questions first. So I just want to say thank you so much for choosing yourself and choosing to value yourself in this gift you have being on this earth. As usual, I want to give you the same homework and prescription tonight, is that I want you to call either video or audio. You need to hear a voice, so texting doesn't count. You need to call at least one person, get them on the line and tell them that you love them. If you get voicemails, you got to go to another. I want you to get one person live in person to tell you love them. There's nothing like spreading joy, love, and hope right now, and love and hope are what's going to get us through. So again, thank you so much. You know how to find me. I'm Dr. Ericka, double board certified psychiatrist and integrative lifestyle coach. I help women who are disgruntled with life and love redefine and reboot their dreams in order to attract more aligned people and opportunities. I'm here with over 15 years of experience in human behavior. I have my telepsychiatry practice, which is for both genders. I just want to remind you that. And I'm just looking forward to help you make through all these things going on, from all of the racism and all of the drama to all of this, the madness with COVID. I want you to get through all of it with your heart and your body intact. So that's all I got for you. Take care. Thanks again. Have a great night. Thanks again, Coach B, for taking time out of your super busy schedule to spend quality time with me and my peeps.
Thank you.